The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Butcher's Bible Podcast. I'm your host, Ant.
And I'm Luke.
We're two blokes preaching a good word in the meat industry.
One episode at a time.
We have a very special guest for everyone today. We have a part-time beekeeper, full-time legend, Matt Roberts. How are you?
Good to see you. Thanks very much.
Awesome. How's things?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, sorry I was a bit late to this afternoon. I had a bit of a, very, very part-time beekeeper. I basically, might be one of my hives, I know, but there was a swarm there and farmer told me to go and grab it. So I had to jerry-rig a swarm catching thing out of a Scobies box that I had in the back of the truck.
Yeah. Shout out to Scobies.
Shout out to Scobies, yeah.
Love that. Now, I'm a big fan. Have been for a while now. And also, if you want to plug and promote yourself, everything Matt Roberts.
Well, like I say, I feel a bit of an imposter on this podcast, to be honest with you, given the sort of calibre of butchers that you have in here. I've basically self-taught, YouTube taught, basically due to sort of Scott Ray and his sort of pioneering stuff on YouTube. Bit like me, I've always been into sort of shooting, hunting, fishing, trapping since I was a kid. My dad got me into it really young, but we're like beating on the local shoot. It wasn't a commercial shoot, it's like a walked up day. Always loved cooking, loved my meat. And yeah, it's like sort of getting hands on with it really. Always been into it really. And the sort of, it got a bit more serious after I got into deer stalking about sort of 15 years ago. As you know, the deer carcass is pretty much bigger than a rabbit, although I think to start with I was butchering it pretty much the same way, just like a knife and a bloody, I don't know, just hacking away at it.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just like learning as you go along. I think that's the beauty of it really, is that when you sort of harvest it yourself, you can't really go wrong. It's not like you're buying you're spending a lot of money on something unless you've paid for the carcass or whatever, but you can, if you mess something up, a cut or anything like that, you can always bottom line, it's always good as mince, isn't it? So it doesn't matter what you're doing, you've always got some mince on the go.
Very, very true.
Yeah, but yes. Yeah, so I just got into it that way, and one deer led to another deer, and then I would start doing some sort of home butchery in the kitchen initially, but it was a bit harsh because we had a one-bedroom flat in Bishopston in Bristol, and it was hard work getting the carcasses into the house because you could have a park outside your damn house on the road, and so I had to park down the street and then sort of hustle up, hunched over with the rifle in the slip, get that in as quick as possible, and then try and figure out how I was going to get like a deer carcass up the road, especially when I had to park a street away, the curtains are twitching and all that sort of stuff. And it's through the house, getting blood on the floor, getting shouted at, and into the shed at the back.
Was it rolled up in a carpet or something?
No, it wasn't a carpet. No, I didn't want it in a bag. It was literally just like holding its four legs and literally skipping down the road. I mean, thank God they were road deer and muntjac. They weren't fallow. If it had been fallow, I'd have had a real problem. Could have been a firm like carcass is easy to handle, but when they're floppy and dripping everywhere, you just can't get around them, and they're just
still warm. You're like
a beast pig. It's just like trying to get on the road. It's a nightmare. So that went from doing a few in the shed to moved out the sticks a bit more space, shooting more deer, and then selling them to local restaurants. Then they wanted a few more deer, so I got a bit more commercial equipment, and that's kind of where it went. Well, both wrong and right for me. I'd invest in some commercial equipment to make my processing life a little bit easier, and then I'd have to process more deer to pay for the equipment. But then as I was processing that, I'd then need another bit of equipment to make another part of the process or chain easier. And and the orders were flowing through because they liked what I was doing. And it's gone from like a little bushware mixer grinder, well, a little mincer thing to, God knows, it's
a lot of industrial units.
Pretty much, yeah, like Fisher unit, yeah, Colby mincer, all the bells and whistles, on rails, and they ain't cheap. And yeah, it's just like,
yeah,
right, like that really. And I'm hoping it's going to get to the stage, well, as is the wife, that I'm going to stop spending money on kit and start maybe paying some of it off, because it's hard work, but we'll get there.
Do you want to tell the people what the business is? And
yeah, good point. Yeah, better plug that. Yeah, it's a Grove Game. It's Grove Game Larder on the gram. And yeah, primarily it's high end wild meat, sort of either sourced or shot by myself. I mean, the numbers I'm doing, I can't really shoot all of them myself, especially on having to process them as well. So I've got some relationships with some landowners and stuff, and sort of piggyback on top of other stalkers, where I'm sort of part of like the shooting team or shooting party, so to speak, so to make it more economical on my time and more efficient for them. So it's wild boar, venison, rabbits. Used to a bit on the feathered game, but they're so high maintenance or high ball ache to process, and unfortunately bugger all. But then I've gone and sort of invested in some other kits to try and get more yield out of them. Like I think meatballs are the way to go on pheasants and stuff. So we'll see if I can disguise their flavour as much as possible using that stuff, and then go from there.
Cool, remarkable. Where are you based then?
I'm North Somerset, just west of Bristol.
Lovely.
Wraxall.
Yeah, nice.
Lovely. Undulating fields, really, really good, strong roe deer around here, especially. Muntjac are encroaching in, not many fallow, which is another problem. A lot of my travelling has to be to all 4 points of the compass to try and pick up fallow, because as you guys know, you can't really, the commercial cuts aren't there on roe deer, sadly, which is a shame because they taste great. But yeah, it's all about fallow, seeker, red is where it's at, really.
Incredible.
That's cool.
So I wanted to ask, why game shooting, and where did it stem from?
Well, the game shooting. My dad got me into that as a boy. My best mate down the road was the gamekeeper's son. We were in the same school year, and we'd basically just hang out all the time. I was either debeaking pheasants or like clearing up ferret shit out of things. We used to go ferreting and all that sort of thing for rabbits. Used to take them to the butchers. That was probably like an early hook for me, to be honest. Was getting pocket money from the butchers for rabbits, and that was more than I was getting pot washing in the local restaurant, and it was more fun. So it was that was kind of where I got the hook, really. And like I say, it's a byproduct of a pastime which I absolutely love and adore, really. And my social media side of things only really came out of just before we went into lockdown. There was a hell of a lot of pressure on the meat industry, and the supermarkets were jumping on the bandwagon, and cows are killing everyone. Never mind about bloody all the toxic industries going on, but it's all about meats killing the world. So I thought, well, that's not. I mean, there's good practice, there's bad practice, and as far as I'm concerned, wild meat is as about as ethical as it gets. So that's what I sort of thought I'd try and sing the praises of it a bit.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. Like the game, especially because I'm over in Dorset as well, and we got like the Seeker, and we got like the Chinese water deer and everything as well. And so they're just running rampant over here. But like the flavor is so incredible because it's such a clean meat. It's not been farmed. There's very little to it, but like the flavor is just incredible. And
100%.
Yeah, and it's so easy for the human body to break it down because it's one of the very first things that we were eating back in the caveman days that they've said. And just like the history, just especially from like the UK, it's so rich in game as well, and it's just everywhere, and it's natural, and it's just so pure and clean, I would like to say.
Yeah, but it is
100%.
Have you found that, as you know, it was in the COVID boom, like where they just absolutely doubled, tripled in numbers? Is that still the case?
I think the numbers have been. Yeah, I mean they're still going up. I think part of the issue why numbers are going up is there's that market for them has to be there, really. There's farming practices have changed a lot. Obviously, there's the only thing that really predates on deer. Well, there isn't anything that naturally predates on them. Foxes will take young ones. Badgers even will take a young one, really small one. But the only thing that really controls deer populations is cars and combine harvesters and fences. Yeah, honestly, my early season stuff is always going around shooting like road traffic accidents, roadside dispatch, or shooting deer and fences. It's really it's sad and it's such a waste, but that's kind of where it goes.
Do you have a license?
Nothing else.
So do you have a license when there's like a roadside accident? Do like the council or the police call you and say, look, we got a deer on our hands?
It's really complicated. It depends on sort of county to county, really. Roadside dispatch is really controversial because legally you can't dispatch fire alarm within 50 meters of the center of a road, and if you if you shoot a firearm on land which isn't yours, you are automatically armed trespass. So that's licensed. That could be custody, fines, all sorts. It's pretty damn serious. Or you can dispatch with a like a bladed article or anything like that. I mean, I've had to put them out with a bloody tire iron out the back of the car before. I've also had to do roadside dispatch with a knife. Just people standing around it, like townies being flustered. It ain't getting better, that's for sure.
Right. And I was like, what are we going to do? Are we just going to watch it? This thing was just, the half its back end was just broken. So you think they're calling the police, it's not their issue. It's out of the sort of like the Ashdown Forest Rangers jurisdiction, so they're not bothered. So I was like, oh, maybe I have to do this. And I phoned the police afterwards and was like, listen, I've done this. If anyone says anything,
they're just like, yeah, mate, like, crack on.
yeah. They were kind of like, okay, where is it? I was like, it's in the woods. And they're like, fine.
But this is the welfare thing that a lot of people don't understand. I mean, a lot of the people who are against shooting would stand by, and they wouldn't happily stand by and watch that deer basically just bleed out or suffer or just die of shock.
But they wouldn't be doing anything.
And no one gets any satisfaction. You don't get it. You don't get it. I don't get it. It's pretty traumatizing and it's not nice to do, but it's your responsibility as someone who cares about the animal, deeply cares about it. You know it's not getting better. Yeah. And they're just gonna, the RSPCA or some other mob will come along and inject it after, like, once it's been laid there for 2 hours and just died of shock. It's just not on. And let's face it, they're naturally predisposed to know when their time's up. They're a prey species. You see them getting smashed up by, I don't know, lions or wolves or anything like that. They know when it's going. They know when it's coming, and that's that. I think they pretty much accept it. Whereas just sat there waiting for it, it's almost like being up against a wall, wondering when they're going to squeeze the trigger. So
right, it's a funny line, that one, isn't it? Like whether
it's a desensitization that people think like, oh, meat is like what they see in the supermarket, but when it comes to like the real deal and witnessing it, like you said, it is traumatizing, Matt. But it's human. Like like us as humans, we need to be able to call the shots and be like, right, let's put this thing out of its misery because it's not going to get better.
Do you feel? Sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's that Disney factor of everything, isn't it? Everything's friendly and everything's going to live in harmony and all that sort of stuff. And it's not. I mean, life's cruel out there, and like the deer management isn't just keeping populations down for the sake of farmers' crops and all that side of things, or road traffic accidents and livestock escapes. It's about the deer themselves, because if they get into great quantities, the gene pools get all smashed up. We get loads of like malforms or deformities, which they're just going to weigh on the rest of the herd. I mean, they've all got stomachs. They just get desperation, or they get, like I said, deformities, parasites. Disease spreads a lot more rifely, and it's just not good for the greater good, really. That's the problem. So keep them in check and get the a good, tasty benefit out of it as well.
Yeah, true. Oh, yeah. What do you think people's, or what's your perception of people's opinion of game, specifically venison currently? Do you think?
I think
people are up for it, or they see it as a byproduct of the countryside, if you see what I mean?
I think venison's travelled a long way in the last decade, 20 years, decade, to be honest with you. I think game traditionally has always had a very stereotypical label as the byproduct of a rich man's sport, and like that has been its main holdback. Whereas, yes, people who are wealthy do it, but they do it mostly for the right reasons, as any other hobby. There are good and bad practices, but I think really that the vast majority of the people engaged in the countryside, deer management, game rearing, and just the general husbandry of the land, they are hardworking, honest. They're not wealthy. They just put their back into it and roll the sleeves up. And it's not all sport. It's graft. It's getting like bitten, scratched, uncomfortable, covered in ticks, and just general being like uncomfortable. But people do it because they love it, and it's part of their way of life. So I think back in the day, it's had a bad picture on it for a long time, not helped by the media, not helped by the politics and stuff. Fox hunting kind of got in the way of that as well. It's all the same thing. No, it's not at all. Even fox hunting's got its place in the countryside land management, but let's not go there. But yeah, anyway, so that was a traditional view. Then I think it's gone through the blood sports view, which is not, it's management. And now I think it's gone through there was very much a stain on every sort of meat-based thing, veganism. Again, social media's got a lot of part to play, and irresponsible bloody celebrities have got a lot of part to play on pushing 3D printed meat and like manufactured protein shit, which is just, don't get me started. Yeah, I've started already, so I may as well carry on. But I think please do. And another thing, but I think it's kind of gone stage where I think people are finding out for themselves at certain points of view that they're fed through politics or social media, and certain things that they've been told. People are becoming more in tune with making their own decisions and stuff. And I think venison it's had a good run. A lot of the celebrity chefs are really getting behind it. There's like Highland Game and other places like that are really helping to get it on the shelves. And I know there's a price point issue and all that sort of stuff, because it's not like they're going to a field and putting them all on a trailer, and it's a lot of work to get a deer from field to table. Even the domestic, even the farm stuff, but the wild stuff and the park stuff, it doesn't give itself up easily. It's got that grading stuff, the consistency, and that's the issue really. I think it's gone now, especially with, Jeremy Clarkson, brilliant. That bit of advertising there. I think it's going to go for strength. And I think the people that went vegan are going to all get ill unless they take loads of supplements. And I think they're going to find that their body's craving for it. Because I've got a lot of people who come to me as vegans and bought venison because they haven't wanted to get on board with the commercial or more industrial side of farming. There's the regenerative stuff, which is there for everyone, but they felt that they don't want the label of meat, beef, pork, lamb. They want something which is they can say is wild, and I think that's gonna be at least help keep the population down, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. I found when I owned my shop as well, I found like a lot of vegans were coming back, and they were like, my teeth are falling out, my hairs are falling out, my periods aren't like in line. There's just so many like things, and like the beef, just let alone beef alone, the minerals and vitamins that are in it that you can't find in supplements, and those are essential to the human body. Where in game, they were like exactly what you said. They didn't want to get involved in the industrial side or the like that farming commercial side. They wanted something that was wild and cleaner, and that's where the game came in. And I always upsold them on starting with just like venison steaks or a little bit of mince and just getting their bodies used to it again, because they've withdrawn from that. You just can't plug yourself back into it like eating, 2 whole venison leg steaks that are like 10 ounces. You need to slowly bring it back in. And I kept finding that. Yeah. I kept finding that over time. And they always did. They're like, I want to step it up a bit more. Then they'll go right and they'll try sausages or they'll do those things. But I always found that the vegans did come to the venison. Okay.
Yeah. So funny you should mention that, actually, because I had some people who they weren't vegan. They were very sort of conscientious vegetarian at Smallest Point, and they came in and wanted to ask for some venison launch for a party, and a few of them came back saying they'd been really sick because of it, and I was like, well, Jesus, and I could go back through my process and the batches and all that sort of stuff, And it did occur to me, it's like, well, they've just been eating, like, just, I don't know, they hadn't been ingesting, like, meat, let alone venison, which is quite rich. And they just basically, it was like they just got such a rush from eating it. I think they basically just smashed the whole thing that was supposed to be, like, a Sunday lunch and sandwiches for the week. And they just basically beasted the lot, like the King style. And then we're like, yeah, woof. So, yeah. So it's a good point. So I actually say, look, if you haven't done this for a while, just start off small and ease yourself into it.
Yeah. Because that's the last thing you want is someone coming back with criticism about something, like you said, is going out, getting that body, bringing that body back to the table, and then, you know, feeding it. There's so much work to go into it, and just for someone to go and not realize that they've withdrawn from something that, you know, it's going to be an overload for the system.
And yeah, very true. I mean, you produce some great stuff. Well, on your Instagram, you got some. It's not only is it's good to see you make it, like you say, people think of it as sort of like just a bit of a blood sport, which it isn't. You're managing the land, you're managing the population of things, and you're putting out some serious quantities of venison currently, like huge. I texted you the other day, and you were like, I was up till 2 a.m. lugging around 40, like a ton of diced venison in the freezer.
It was an absolute nightmare. Yeah, I was in the process of expanding my unit, which is only like 2 minutes from my house. But yeah, that was savage. I'd had the process of a cull. We did a movement day, and we had I think it was like 62 fallow in a day, and sort of processing all of them. I had like a mate of mine's got like a freelance meat business locally, and he has a container which he used for beef carcasses in the run up to Christmas, but that was vacant, so he let me put them in there, and we then sort of blitzed them over sort of 2 or 3 weeks. And obviously, it's like anything. That's another problem, really, is that I think loins and saddles sell themselves. Haunches are relatively easy to get through, but the forequarters and all that side of things is slower to go. So I had to find a home for all that. So that's my burgers. Well, it's my burgers and sausages over the summer, which is good. Saves me running around trying to make commercial sized batches out of roe deer, which is not that straightforward. So yeah, it's that wasn't cool. I literally had hands like claws, like, you know what they're like, and they're all really, the number your fingers get, the less sensitized, and you don't sort of then notice when they're like smacking against like 5 kilo bricks, like landing on the tips all the time. It's like, it's gonna throb in the morning. Yeah.
Now, is a lot of you say your butchery was self-learned, self-taught. Is it primarily that, or do you have any kind of training, or did you work with anyone just to get to grips with the basics? Or
no, I other than Scott Ray off YouTube, to be honest with you, and a few other people, it's just seeing stuff. I mean, social media is pretty good for that as well, to be honest. You see something, and even if you just see the end product, you can look at it, and by having the luxury of not having the stress of having to ruin the carcass, because well, not ruin it, you know what I mean? It can all be minced at the end of the day, but having the confidence and the time to experiment with something, and just try different ways of doing things. And I mean, I'm left-handed, which makes things a nightmare anyway, because you see someone doing something right-handed, it's like, oh, the bloody hell, they, you're just trying to turn everything upside down and stuff. It's like, God, just try it myself. Yeah, you cut your fingers a few more times, but not as bad as you, thank God.
I mean, yeah, I've given it a good go.
Yeah.
I've still got them all. Touch wood. But yeah.
I had a bandsaw go on me the other day, and that was like a proper
shake up.
Yeah.
Everything's still there. My God, thank Christ.
The blade split, did it, as it was going?
Yeah, just split full tilt as I was literally pushing something through it, and it's like a bang.
Oh yeah.
And like
it's a real shitty pants moment.
Yeah. That was like, how'd that happen? How are they all still there? Because I heard the blade swish. It's like, oh my God.
You can I go have a sit down for a few minutes?
A little cry.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask how, like, for amateurs, like, how, because you got a really impressive set of like equipment, like you're sponsored from Pulse, aren't you?
Yeah, Pulsar. Well, yeah, it's like that's for. I mean, that's great for. I mean, it's expensive. There's no getting away from it. It's expensive stuff, and technology moves on so quickly. I think the good news is that any of the kit now is so resilient and good. It's more than adequate for what we need it for. Really, I mean, we're not the military, but everything can always be a little bit crisper, a little bit sharper, a little bit more zoom, or features like bullet drop compensation and elevation and different sort of. Oh, it's just insane how it's going, but. But yeah, Pulsar that's mostly thermal technology, which is really, really helpful for. I mean, when you're going shooting, you guys know when you're walking your dogs and stuff. There's people who are where they shouldn't be, and the benefit of thermal not only means you can sort of see the animals a lot sooner, but you can see people where they shouldn't be as well. And just so you can see an animal doesn't mean you need to go and shoot it. It's a great idea to get a perspective of how much the land is holding. So to influence to get a better idea on a cull plan. Also, if you're stalking into an animal, you can see things which you hadn't seen before, especially with the herd species like fallow. There's lots of pairs of eyes on you potentially. So trying to get into a specific animal for a cull for whatever reason, it's dead handy. And also as well, it records a lot of the stuff as well. So not just for gratuitously sticking it on the internet afterwards, but just for if I'm out with a client and I'm looking at them taking a shot, I'll record that in the thermal binoculars, and you can then freeze frame, slow it up on your phone and stuff. You can see where the bullet strike is. You can range it on there, and you can record it, so you're looking not just at the beast, but you can look above it as well to get sort of defining land features, so that when you're trying to find it in a field full of bloody wheat, you've got like a point of entry to like walk towards, so you can. I don't know why I'm pointing over there. You can't see what's over there. You know what I mean? It just means when you play something back in your mind, it's not as good as be able to stick it on your phone and go, yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, as well as Pulsar's only been relatively recent. To be honest, I'm lucky enough to get on their Harkula ambassador thing as well. And Harkula I've been using for ages. I mean, it's like just been, as I said at the start, it's not always warm Sunday, like summer evenings and all that sort of stuff. It's the weather can be pretty bloody horrible, as we all know, and wet. And you're quite often a long way from home. You're up all hours, and being sort of comfortable, warm, dry, and like having got pockets with silly things like pockets where you expect them, and things that don't like make a noise when you're walking through, either your legs zipping together or stuff like that. It's like a nice, quiet, warm, dry material. Yeah, it just it's one less thing to worry about. So yeah, I'm quite lucky on that side. That's cool. They send me some nice stuff, and I promptly get it covered in all manner of stuff.
Yeah,
always wash out, but so, yeah,
it's those things that you don't really think about, isn't it? Sort of like the noise of your clothes when you're following the herd or searching for an animal.
Yeah, I mean, you think of like while you're going for walking, like I don't know, knee high or chest high grass in the sort of this sort of time of year when it's really starting to push on. You're after roebucks. You go in for an early morning stalk, and you think, it's gonna be a hot day, but you don't take into account all the dew all over the grass, and you get bloody saturated first thing in the morning. And you think, well, I'll counterbalance that by wearing some waterproof leggings or something. But they're just like, it's like, you can't walk in them quietly enough. So yeah, but like Gore-Tex, like membraned stuff with a like a coating on it just to help it drip off, or gaiters or all sorts of things. It's little things. It's very often stuff you find out the hard way, and it's not essential kit. I mean, you can go and do it in a pair of bloody rugby shorts if you want, but not with the ticks around here. I wouldn't. But yeah.
The brambles and everything as well that come with it.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, they're dangerous, man. Those brambles, especially when the summer season comes around, they just flourish and then they just absorb everything.
Yeah, good mate of mine does deer follow-ups for either road traffic collisions or shots which haven't quite gone to plan, and he's got these leggings there, sort of Harkula as well, but they're called wild boar leggings, I think, so because they're like Kevlar lined, because wild boar, because they've got big ass tusks, they sort of rip your legs and stuff, bleed you out, and then wait till you start to smell and then come and eat you. But but if he's on his hands and knees going, I know, your hands and knees going through brambles trying to follow like blood trails or that sort of things. It's you want something to stop you getting covered in spines and stuff. So it can be pretty harsh terrain. But it become really nice as well. So
So
makes sense.
getting into the how to get involved actually in like shooting or game shooting and such. Like, where's a good place for someone to start?
it's difficult depending on where you are in the country. I mean, I know it's sort of like the sort of southeast Hicks is really high populated. Ground is quite hard to come by generally, but at the end of the day, it's unless you're fortunate enough to own a large parcel of land, you're going to be getting permission, or you're going to be buying a space on a lease. Really, getting permission is difficult because, I mean, let's face it, unless you know the landowner, you're asking potentially a stranger to if you can walk around on their land early mornings, late evenings, with a rifle capable of killing someone at 4 miles, or 4 kilometers. So it's a big ask, isn't it? And then you have the I mean, land is not. I mean, over in the sort of States and other places, you have in Scotland to a certain extent, you have large tracts of land, but over here it's more patchwork quilt. So you'll have like a couple of 100 acres here and 100 acres there and 50 acres there, and it's hard to build up a decent chunk or just anything. Sometimes it's just not there. So getting land shooting can be very, very difficult. In terms of getting into it itself, I think the shooting and hunting fraternity of people, they're very open armed on that side of things. They are generally in the main keen to encourage people and happy to like look a lot of pride in what they do as well, how they do it, and they're very happy to sort of have someone along to show them the ropes and stuff. Like mentoring is a very big thing, especially in deer stalking, because it's a lot more solitary and there's a lot more trust involved, I think, on it really. But there will be, I mean, the British Association for Shooting Conservation, BASC, they've got a very good education piece. So is the British Deer Society, especially on the deer side. There's other sort of organisations as well, counter deer stalking and other sort of things. Like I say, there's plenty out there on social media for people who are, even if you don't know what you're looking for, you can find some people to take you out. There's, like I say, there's deer initiative groups, syndicates, all sorts. And there's, like I say, there's something where you don't have to have your own rifle as well. You can use something called an estate rifle clause, where you can use a rifle as long as you're within hailing distance. So there's plenty of ways in. It's just a lot of it is down to the individual and how much they want it. You do hear people say, I can't get land, but it's like, well, there's always a way. There's always a way to get yourself into it. And it's for me, I've been able to get a fairly decent amount of land together, but it's not been through knocking on doors saying, can I shoot? It's been knocking on doors saying, you've got a load of moles over there. Can I help you with the mole control in replacement for like a field to shoot rabbits on, or cutting up a fallen tree and showing the wood, helping sweep.
The building relationship first.
Yeah, you got to give before you can receive, I think, on that. It's that trust. It's building that trust, because there's plenty of people around who will walk around with a pocket full of cash and be willing to buy the rights to shooting. But if you've got that element of trust and you're doing a good job, then people would rather have, in the main, well, I say in the main, it's becoming less and less that way, unfortunately, but you've got a better chance of keeping your stalking if you've got that element of trust and you reciprocate.
Yeah. Goes a long way.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
What about in terms of like equipment? Like, what would someone as beginner or want to start out with?
I've got mates with rifles which you could literally get out of a Christmas cracker. They are cheap as chips, and they shoot better than I do all the time. They're old school, and you don't need to spend a lot of money on it. I think I've got some nice gear because I wanted it to be reliable, and I'm that sort of personality where I've got to have I need confidence in stuff. Yeah. And if I've got confidence, then everything else sort of clicks into place. I started off on a bit of a bad foot coming from, I've been shotgun shooting all my life and going into rimfire and then centerfire rifles.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of basically getting all my information off bulletin boards and stuff like that, really, back in the day when we had forums, not social media. And there's so much bullshit spoken on those things. You can't take anyone's word for anything. It's just get out there and find out the hard way. And I found out the expensive hard way, unfortunately. But I know what I like now and I'm sticking with it. So, but yeah, I think go to a gun shop, go to a few gun shops, because there will be gun shops still quite happily tell you the best thing that's in sliced bread is the rifle that's been on the shelf for 10 months, hasn't sold. So yeah, don't trust what they tell you in gun shops necessarily. Go to a few and go from there. Like you said, have to spend a lot of money. You will notice the difference on a lot of things. I mean, just in terms of cycling and actions and follow-ups, shots, scopes. I mean, the rifle's one thing, but the glass as in the scope they use to shoot it. No one uses, well, very rarely people shoot iron sights anymore. It's quality of glass and lenses have moved a hell of a long way, become a lot more affordable to produce. But you still get what you pay for, as far as I'm concerned. And I've using like Swarovski stuff, which is the best you can get. And as far as I'm concerned, Pulsar stuff, which is the best you can get as well. I use a Larder R8, which people may look down their nose at or think that it's I don't know, it's like a poser's gun, but it's got all the features I want on it, and it's super accurate, dead quick to reload. It's great.
You're very much like a buy good and buy once sort of vibe to it.
Well, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, I'd say I haven't bought well at all. I'd say you buy the best scope you can afford, 100%. Even if it's a good quality second-hand scope by a good brand, buy that, and you won't lose money on it, and you'll have reliability on it. I think there's a lot of shit, especially a lot of mass-produced stuff from Asia. I mean, some of the scopes from Japan and Singapore and stuff like that, Thailand are great. There's a lot of other utter crap coming out of China and stuff, but which still, it's got all the buzzwords, it's got all the key features, like the features of stuff, but it's just, it ain't good really. But I would say that because I'm using the other end of the market. But this is why I always find it feel comfortable with the equipment, because I go into what I've got there the bloody hard way. But like I say, you can do stuff with. You don't need to spend a lot of money.
Right, it's the same in butchery. You could probably break down a carcass just as fast as someone when you're using an £8 knife and someone else is using a £200 knife. It's exactly the same sort of thing. And whatever you're comfortable with, and go for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So Matt, you have a very interesting side hustle, and that's beekeeping. Like, can you tell us where that started from?
Yeah, I've always liked bees, always liked honey. So yeah, that's pretty much how it started, to be honest with you. Mate at work had his dad kept him, and just caught up in conversation sometime, and he was like, he's got a swarm at the moment, or he's on a split or something. Do you want a colony? I was like, yeah, that's great, let's go. So went on the internet, bought me a hive, put it together, thought, well, I'll skip the stage of gluing and screwing, I'll just whack a nail in there, that'll be okay. Definitely recommend gluing. So that's why I saw. So they gave me a box of bees that was literally about to explode. It was so full of bees.
Wow.
And I went to a beekeeping. There's like a local apiary around here. I went there to try and learn some stuff. And there were a couple of decent people there, but it was a bit like the internet forums of days gone by. To be honest, there so many people with a different opinion, and loads of like quite. I mean, there's some young people there as well, but mostly sort of like some elderly people who've got different opinions about stuff, and one hat's blacker than the other hat. It was quite hard work. They're all really, really nice, but take you to one side afterwards and give you some different advice. It just got a bit confusing, to be honest with you, so I thought, well, I can't be dealing with it. So I just thought I'll work it out. And since then it's been sort of going from one disaster to another, to be honest with you. I'm quite honest with you. I'll think I'm doing well, then they'll swarm, and then I'll think I'm having an absolute nightmare, and then they'll they'll produce like £100 of honey out of nowhere. They'll literally pull it out of their arse, and I'll have honey literally everywhere. It's mad. So I'm not too interventionist on them. I mean, I inspect them when I need to be inspected. But I'm actually going through another tuition session I'm very lucky to have a good neighbour up the road, who's my sort of age and really just like cool with it, if you know what I mean. They're not up in your face and doing this sort of stuff and have you done the course and all this sort of thing. Because it's another complete hobby. And I basically sold it to the wife. It's like, this is only going to take a few minutes each, like Sunday morning at the weekend. It's like, it's so much stuff as well. You wouldn't believe how much kit you need. It's like, it's not just a hive and a couple of supers. It's like a hive and a load of supers and another hive for when they swarm. You can split them, and then like you need like we don't need an extraction like thing to get the honey out, but of course I've got a extractor and then all the filters, and then you've got all the feeding. So you need to buy like blocks of like
feeding.
Yeah, you got to feed them over the winter. So we haven't got to feed them over the winter because you're nicking all their honey after the summer. They're a bit screwed in the winter otherwise if you just leave them with no food. Right. So they ball up into like a winter cluster. Well, what they do is it's quite harsh. All the drones, which are the male bees, they need them over the summer to, like, should they swarm, to basically go and mate with the queen. But as soon as it gets water, they just kick them all out and just let them like shiver and die outside the front of the hive. Savage. And they'll have it's brutal there. And they'll have a load of winter bees, which the queen will have laid, and those winter bees then sort of cluster. It's called a cluster around the queen, and they'll basically, the idea is they move around the frames over the course of the winter, just basically in like a stasis, really, just feeding, and then come spring they'll basically go gangbusters to sort of get the queen start laying, because it's not the queen that really runs the hive. She's the layer, and she's the most valuable asset there. But it's the really clever thing called the hive mind. So if the bees themselves think the queen isn't performing, they'll supersede her and they'll get one of her eggs, stick it in they'll make a very special queen cup. They'll put an egg in there, and then they will turn that into a queen, and either that queen will emerge and kill the other one, or they will just or they'll swarm and half their colony will go. But it's they're pretty clever critters. They seem to do some pretty bloody stupid things a lot of the time, to be honest with you. Like this afternoon, I mean, I had a swarm box literally 6 foot from where those buggers decided to go inside a bush. I mean, at least it was head high, not on the top of a tree like the last one was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Give it the old shake so they all fall in and it all kicks off, doesn't it?
Yeah, just exactly. Yeah, just I get the box around, they give them a good shape, or ideally shaking's good, but it can stir them up a little bit, or you can literally cut the branch and get them on there. There's also ways you can get it.
No.
Holy, that's insane! I didn't know that they, if the queen isn't performing, that they'll just kick her out. Would they send her outside? Yeah, right.
I think I'd probably just stop feeding her, to be honest with you, and then she's screwed because she can't do any of that stuff herself.
They're pretty chunky.
About it, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, they're like twice the size, maybe even 2.5 times the size of a worker bee. They're pretty big and badass. But yeah, it's quite clever how they do everything.
I loved it. As a kid, I used to see it, and you go to the fair or the local fete as a middle class country boy would, and they would there'd be the old boy with all his jars of honey, and he would have some bees, and the queen in a glass frame on the table. They'd be like, "Find the queen," and it'd be the one with like the little dot Tipex on its back or something. And I've just been interested in, I don't know, bees. Look after them.
Yeah. Do you want to hide?
I don't have the facilities for that. But right.
No, you're right. You're exactly the same position I was when I said yes, so you'll be fine, mate. Go on, crack on.
I've got a spare room, actually. I could
well, that funny you should mention that, actually.
Open the window.
We've got if you get bees in the attic or something, you've got to be really careful because if you just go and spray them and kill them, that's what I'd say. If anyone has a beehive in the attic or a bee colony, don't just spray them and kill them, because they're the only thing really that's maintaining the temperature of that of any honey stores they've put down. So if you've got it in the attic and you kill them, and the attic gets really hot for whatever reason, maybe sun beating down on it or whatever, and the wax cappings melt, then you've got honey, to basically potentially hundreds of pounds of honey coming down through the ceiling, and it's you'll just wreck it.
It's a delicious mess.
Yeah, just licking walls instead of licking windows. Yeah.
Snazberries taste like snazberries. So you must be eating raw honey and honeycomb all the time then.
Oh, well, I did a lot of honeycomb last year. We cut comb honey because it had all it like crystallized in the comb a little bit. Well, it was quite hard, and I couldn't get it warm enough to extract it, so I just cut some. I mean, I don't want anyone thinking I know what I'm doing with beekeeping. I'm literally making it up as I go along.
It sounds like
I could talk a good game with it, but like I say, anyone who's actually a beekeeper will think, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" But I did some cut comb honey last year, which is great, and like the wax is really good. Like it's almost like chewing gum afterwards. It's quite a weird sensation sticking in in your mouth and chewing it, but it's, you get that real like hedonistic, like aromatic hit and sweetness, followed by like a load of chewing gum.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you sell that through the shop that you're at? And
I will do. I mean, to be honest with you, last year was a complete cluster because I bought this new unit. I then had to redo the floor on it and a few other bits and pieces because it basically been sat in a puddle at the last place. And then I had to do a rail system, which involved, there was two options on the rail system. I either cut the roof off and weld a load of steel beams in there, which was just going to be like $7,000 plus that. On top of the $5,000 or $6,000, whatever it was the rail system was, or I just drill up through the roof with a load of studs, slap a load of CT1 and plugs on there, and hope it holds until the summer, which is what I did. And then I got to literally 2 weeks ago, and things started leaking. So I'm now it didn't start leaking. The electrics have shorted in the roof. So at the moment, I'm doing all the butcher I'm doing. I've got some load of work lights in there because it's more work light. Sucks. So it's dark colour. So it's like walking like this. It's like being. Well, it's like the alien question. It's like, it's like ET in there. You know, the thing is just so fucking bright, but you turn him against the wall, and it's still like that. Oh God, it's so.
But ask, what's your record for skinning a deer currently?
Oh, I was gutted. I did one. I did a live of one, but it wouldn't transfer across. It was 2 minutes 15 seconds on a fallow, a mature fallow as well.
Had that been hanging at all?
Yeah, it'd been in there 9 days or 10 days.
There you go. There's the difficulty rating.
Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't want to skin a muntjac and a fallow buck. Are hard work because the more mature ones are because around the necks and stuff. Does are a piece of piss, to be honest with you. Well, they are now. I know. I mean, again, I've changed the way I do that so many times. I used to do it completely differently. Then I saw actually on Instagram a guy doing something. They didn't even make a big deal out of it, and I was like, what was that? And it was just the way they ran up the inside of the legs and just basically cut. You know where the belly strips are. You can basically make like a lateral line all the way down there.
Exactly what I do.
Yeah, it was mental. That total game changer. And another thing was taking the which I always used to end up with a lot of like a fluff around the top of the hock. You know where the on the shank. Sorry, shank not hock.
Yeah.
And just literally just a way of literally whipping that over without having to try and pull it from underneath the gambrel with a knife and all that sort of stuff. It's just so super quick now.
Yeah.
So
just in tricks.
Yeah. Makes a big difference when you're doing like 10 in an evening or something or whatever, or we got to go and do like, there's 40, 50 or 60 or God knows how many it was. It was just, it's a
ball ache.
How'd you build the motivation to do that? You know, where you go, here we go. Like the first, just breaking the back of the first two and then you're fine, isn't it? It's that sort of mental.
Yeah.
You've got to find just to get into the rhythm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially when it comes to an evening shift or something. It's like, well, I've got to get these done, and
Yeah,
no one's going to do it for me. So
it's true.
yeah, crack on.
Very true.
How have you worked up around the HACCP on doing that since skinning? Do you have like a skinning room, or is it inside of like the fridge where you've got like the rail system? That's a blinding system now.
That was a pain because when I did this previously, my smaller unit, I was working with less carcasses, so I did I had like a HACCP clean down policy, so skin it, then literally whack it back in the chiller, and then like complete clean down, massive ball ache. But I mean, you got to do, haven't you? And then with my new unit, part of the reason it's going to be so bloody amazing when it's finished is I've got like a completely loop in, out, and sort of everywhere system on that Tonon. It's absolutely bloody brilliant. So I'm going to have like a main like a entry area, which is going to have a winch truck and winch them straight out the back of the car. Because that's it as well. If you arrive home with a heavy limp pig, like a wild boar, so I'm gone 100 time in the morning, trying to get it on a hook when it's like, I mean, even they're like 60, 70 kilos or whatever, it's just you can't deadlift them when they're floppy. They're just a bastard. So being able to winch it straight out the back of them, then straight onto the rail system, and that's going to go literally straight into my infer chiller. And then as soon as it's ready and set, I'll have it in a straight line back out the infer chiller into where it came in, and that's going to be a skinning and inspection area. So all of that will be done there. It's got all that Altro flooring and the eco drains and things like that. So, and it's got sort of carry around. We'll have checker plate around the side and parlour board on the walls, so you can get a good karcher in there. So all the ticks and shit and all that sort of stuff can literally go straight into the septic tank through the grease strap and all that sort of thing. So that'll go there, and so now it's a lot more organised. Last year I did have that same sort of problem where, fortunately, with my Fisher unit, I've got one area which is infer, so I could still do the same sort of thing and because it goes all the way through, I could skin them in one area and just like chuck them down the end, and they slide all the way down to the end, and I'd do that until I had like 9 or something on the rail. Because if you throw them hard enough, they sort of whip round the corner as well, which was quite handy. And then I can literally go do all that, and then just like change boots, go around the front, and then in the other door, and then that would be the butchery. That's the butchery area. So yeah, it was the new one's going to be great when it's finished.
Yeah, they're good, the Fisher units. Obviously, I'm in one as well, and you must know Rich Bussy. He's a good guy.
He's great. He's a great guy.
Yeah, there's no job too big or complicated or complex. He was like, we can handle it. We can do it. Give me a couple of days to research something.
Honestly, they're amazing. And I mean, I got my unit second hand. I managed to find the second hand unit. Then it got off because obviously everyone wants to hold on to them. And I got a high-ab lorry up from Cornwall. And even so, I spoke to them. They were literally, they were just brilliant. They got the spec sheets for the old unit, and they helped me design that. Well, Richardson or just John designed the rail system for it. They cut it all to length. They itemised it. They put stickers on it. They sent me all the schematics and plans. And when I was scratching my head on how to do it, they were on the phone and absolutely brilliant. Great company to work for. Really, yeah. Can't sing the praises highly enough. Really, but it's like really nice, like for a proper nice firm. When they say they're going to do something, they do it, and there's no cut corners on stuff. Everything's decent. It doesn't fall off. I mean, I know the floor came off, but that's because the previous people had it sat in a bloody seaside puddle. So
yeah, and there's no fluff. It's just all content. There's no real they don't mess around. That's what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's all good stuff. No, I'm delighted with it.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Shout out.
What's that?
Yeah, they are good. I'm thoroughly impressed.
Does because I think it's still, because I'm a bit out of touch now, but is it still got that old school no fur and feather in the same room? Is that still in the HACCP?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really like, so I don't bother with the feather and stuff anyway. What I do is I do bother with it, but I'll basically just for it's a crying shame, but for pheasants, I literally they'll have the breasts off and in a big like what you call them sausage skin tub, or like an HT sack, and they'll go straight in the clean chiller.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the feathers everywhere. I mean,
It's horrible.
I mean pigeons. Yeah, pigeons are easy. Pigeons are. It's called can't remember what they call it. But it's basically with the pigeons where you don't even. I just basically snap in the field, snap the wings off, stick my thumb in the basically to tear the crop off, stick my thumb in between the neck and the breastbone, just break it in half, and just do that.
Yeah.
So I just bring a bag of breasts back, and the rest stays for the fox.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Well, breast and crown, yeah. Your thumbs hurt after a few, but and you ain't never going to out your fingernails for a while, so yeah, it's right up under the fingernails, but yeah.
Ooh.
Nice. Do you get a good price, or is it just as and when you see them, you'll shoot them, you're not going out after them?
To be honest with you, I mean, most of my pigeon shooting is recreational. If I've got like some time to go out with the lad or something, I'll go and try and knock a few. But I haven't done it for a while. Some mates do it quite heavily, so I'll sort of help them out with them. But the problem is most of the sort of seasonal time for shooting pigeons is they sort of the bloody flies are on them so damn quick. So you got to be quite careful. You take stuff. I mean, I only take some with a couple of mates anyway, just to help them out. But they're good. But again, they can sit on the shelf for a long time until someone wants them, and then everyone wants them all at once. It's infuriating.
Yeah, true.
Wow.
It's like bloody squirrels. Everyone keeps hassling me for squirrels. You skin a squirrel?
Yeah,
No,
I was good.
I've cooked a
A
squirrel.
pain in the arse. That pain in the arse to skin.
I see no benefit in it. There's someone, one of my girlfriend's friends, is into just stewed squirrel.
It's awesome.
Like, is it? I don't think so.
It tastes awesome.
Well, from what you put in it, not the meat itself, though, right?
Well,
The processing of it is disgusting because I mean, all the like the buck squirrels, they have those inordinately large testicles, like they're just massive, clearly out of proportion to the rest of the body. So you're just doing is like cutting them off. It's like it's just horrible. And then you've got these massive yellow teeth, like at you, and then it's just But I had some for the first time only last year actually, at a forester's. So I was doing like a talk at a forestry school about deer management, and they had like a big old, it was like a cathedral pot, like a witch's cauldron on a fire.
No,
And I was amazing. What is it? Yeah, and he called it tree ratatouille, and I was like, that is brilliant, brilliant. And it was like ratatouille with squirrels in it. And it was lush, really good.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, I had a guy come into my shop and he was like, "Oh man, do you do game?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, do you do squirrel?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can get it."
Maybe.
Yeah, and he goes, "I got this sick recipe for KFS," and I was like, "KFS?" He's like, "Kentucky Fried Squirrel," and I was like, "All right, give me till next week, and I'll bring you in some." Like I'll bring it in, and he's like, "Yeah, all right, cool." And then I gave it to him, and then the following Sunday he come in, he's like, "Hey man, try this." And I was like, "You got the little arm, the little leg, and that." He's like, "Yeah, get into it." Yeah, and I tried it, and I was just like, "This actually isn't that bad. This is actually quite nice." And I've eaten it since as well, and it's pretty good. I like it.
I don't know.
Well, again, finding a home for those bloody things would be great because they're doing as much damage to woodland as deer are, really.
Yeah.
And sort of songbirds and all that sort of stuff. They're bloody everywhere.
Mm.
I don't want you to give away your trade secrets, but can we talk about recipes?
Yeah.
I want to know what you do. You do your burgers and your sausages. Do you have like your popular ones flavors you want to try? So
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I had my conversation with my EHA. I was pretty bloody paranoid about ingredients and all that side of things. And getting ratios right and all that sort of stuff. A lot of experimentation. So my recipes are quite cheaty, to be honest with you. I generally use a premix, and I then add stuff to it to help bring extra pop on the areas that I want to. So it might be like a basic premix just to get that salt and sort of rust ratios correct, and that all the base of the pure allergens are listed, so I can see that on the label. and then I'm just sticking things like, especially with venison, like some fruit or have crushed apricots or a bit of extra like pepper or like some good quality like hot paprika or just like those flavors that you want to come through. I find that that's the safest way of doing it, to be honest with you. I haven't gone down the proper rabbit hole of putting some stuff together. I mean, I've got a mate of mine, Alistair. He's a like sausage. He's a fucking wizard when it comes to sausages and stuff like that. But I haven't got the skills or I mean, I can hack a beast up and I can link a sausage, but when it comes to the actual technical bit, I know what I like and I try and make it as well feasible and practical as quick as possible.
Yeah, the hardest thing is like, and like a lot of people would know as well, without doing like the packet and seasoning and doing the collaboration and all the weighing of all the flavors and everything, because I did all that as well. Everything had to be fresh ingredients, and you had to get the balance of salt to like smoked paprika and blah blah blah. It is a fine art, it really is, and it's just like you slip too much on like the salt, the whole batch is just like, there we go, it's too salty now. We're still
That's it, because a lot of my stuff is I mean, whilst I'm going to hopefully get into the private client and the mail order stuff, a lot of my stuff has been for restaurants. That's the angle I've gone through initially, and they need stuff to be. They need a consistency of flavor, weight, all those other sorts of things. And as they're buying in big batches, I mean, it's too easy to make a mistake. And with a lot of these places, especially the high-end ones that I'm trying to deal with, you don't really get second chances. It's got to be bloody good quality. It's got to be good. Yeah, it's got to be good stuff. It's got to be how they want it and when they want it. And yeah, it's just, I think that's the easiest way to do it. I mean, I think a lot of the aromatics, especially, which really bring out those sorts of flavors that make you notice something, they're best fresh anyway, and they're relatively harmless. So like herbs and some basic spices and stuff like that. That's all I really do.
Yeah, and with that, you can kind of go by touch. It's not too dramatic if you go slightly over or under.
No, I mean, I mature a lot of my sausages I've got like a dry ager chiller, so I'll stick them in there. I've got like an old. It's actually one of the best things I've ever bought. It's like a cattle splitting and head washing station. It's like a dirty, great big stainless steel thing. We did have a big spike in the middle of it. They should stick this head on there and then just cut it on with a bandsaw with God knows what.
Yes.
Pity the bloke that had that job. But anyway, it was going for like £100. And it weighs a ton, so I basically got that and I got like MIG or TIG weld or MIG weld, whatever it is, of stainless steel, a couple of extra bars on top. So I just link all my sausages up and hang them on there, and then they can drip into this big container, so they're not pissing all over the chiller floor and stuff. And they sit there and they can get a nice bit of they sort of plump up and swell up, so they're not gonna. Well, you know what I'm talking about. It's they don't look better.
Do you do?
Yeah, they set, don't they?
Yeah.
Do you use a pea rusk or a regular wheat rusk?
Good question. Wheat rusk.
Okay, yeah, nice. Was that straight from Scopes?
Yeah.
Let's shout out again.
Ledge.
That's awesome.
I wanted to go across because you've been up for quite a fair few awards, and the first one that I saw and had a read of was the Professional Stalker of the Year. What is that? And please don't tell me you're at the front of my house.
No, it's not nothing to do with ex-girlfriends or anything like that. That was that was quite flattering actually. I didn't really know too much about that. And I'm sort of entirely sure how I got nominated for it, but I think it's just it's recognition of trying to put, not necessarily. I'm still not entirely sure. I think it's just trying to follow best practice and just show stalking and deer management for both the pleasurable pastime and necessary pastime that it is really. It was great, great thing to be part of, and the same guy that won it has won it for the last 6 years in a row, or 5 years in a row. So he's obviously doing the right thing. But yeah, it was nice to get recognition for. I always got sort of thought I was maybe a has been on there or also ran, but it was it was great. I mean, there's so many. The thing is, there's so many good people that I look up to in the stalking world, which I think, my God, well, I'm definitely got imposter syndrome here, because there's so many like cool blokes who are going and doing like so much decent stuff. But yeah, it's nice. It was nice to get noticed for it.
Did someone come out and assess you on that, or they were just like, you're up for this award?
Yeah, I got an email. I thought someone's taking the piss. I thought it's like a phishing email or something like that, and they were like, "Can you get here for then?" And I was like, "Well, is this for real?" So I phoned up Parker and said, "I've had this. Is this like a gimmick or something?" They're like, "Let me look into it." They looked into it and went to the magazine that's sponsoring it and said, "No, it's legit." Like, Christ.
Wow.
So yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You've got the Great British Shooting Awards as well.
That was the same. Was that the same thing? That was pretty much the same sort of thing. That was the GBSA. Yeah.
Right. Oh, cool. I was just wanting to double check that, because I was like, is this the same? Or because I tried to do some research on my own, I was just like, am I on the same page? Are these the same people? Like, this is very confusing for me, and I'll double check with the young man.
Yes, young man, I'll take that. Thank you very
much. And this year as well, you got the Eat Game Awards as well. You were shortlisted.
That was, I mean, that was cool as well. I mean, it's like, it's one of those things where you don't really expect to be in that sort of that fraternity of people which you look up to and respect. And like I say, again, how that happened, I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to take. It's one of those things where I've got a place where I want to be in terms of and it's taking a while to get there, but you don't expect to get recognition for stuff when you're on the journey, if you know what I mean. You think the end game's here, and then once I'm here, I can start to push on.
Right.
But yeah, that happening when you're on the road to it, like I say, I'm assuming I just got lucky, and it went across the right person's desk at the right time.
I was going to say, are these external nominations that they would have been?
Yeah.
That's good. Hey man, you're doing the right thing. I'm a fan, like I said, and
I've never been good with praise. I want to say I always get really sheepish and say, no, it's not me, it's someone else. So yeah,
I was exactly the same. I'm like, damn.
Luke pisses me off. Even Luke pisses me off when he's like that. I was like, no, I don't deserve to be in Team GB. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, you deserve every bit of it. Anything that comes across your
absolutely
way, you
deserve
it.
It literally makes me go, oh, like, cool. But you deserve it. You really do. I've followed you for many years now, and everything you do is top. And it's imposter syndrome or not, we all have it. So here we are.
Here we are.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
No, you appreciate
it. You're looking down, going, okay, cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
If I look down anymore, everyone's going to be blinded. I didn't realise. I know where you're wearing caps now, because you get.
No, it's like I keep my hound.
Fucking look at the shine coming off this thing. Yeah.
It's fine, mate. Honestly, you can grab a hat if you want.
It's like a halo.
The angel of death, you can be called.
I know.
I've seen as well that I've noticed a while back that you've introduced a stalking experience in Wild Game Giveaway.
Yeah.
What's involved in that?
That's cool.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I've done a few giveaways, to be honest. It's nice. It's a nice way to meet people you wouldn't. I mean, everyone's got on the same wavelength, but it's a nice way to meet new people, to be honest with you. And I was really lucky getting into stalking, because, as I said, it can be quite difficult to get land, and experience often comes at a bit of a price. So we rely on like mentors and people who are going to like gift us a bit of their time, really. And yeah, I was very lucky to meet a guy. Basically said he'd help get me on the ladder, really. And he did that out of the good kindness of his heart. He's one of my best mates now, like 15 years later. I didn't know him at all. It was off a bloody internet forum of all things, which people I know the wife thinks is weird, but it's just a way where people with similar interests can sort of get to like learn shit, or it was back then anyway. So yeah, that's how I got on the ladder, and I know full well how difficult it is. So I figured that if I can help a few people along the way, then that'd be a cool thing to do. And this most recent one, Pulsar have been good to me. They took me on last year when I didn't. Well, I've had a lot on my plate this last year with upscaling, all that sort of stuff, and although they don't really have any massive expectations about sort of content production and stuff like that. I'm not the sort of person that's going to basically just like start churning out paid promotion stuff for the sake of it, because it's sort of conflicts with kind of what I've been bitten. Well, I've been bitten that way before from people, and obviously the internet's it's not what you see is necessarily what you get. So I'd rather use it sort of like subtly, like this is just it being used sort of thing, as opposed to like staging loads of stuff, which gets a bit complicated for me, especially when you're a bit of a tard with the technology. But so they were good for me the last year because I've basically done bugger all, although I've processed dozens and hundreds of animals. So I thought, they've lent me. I must have thousands and thousands of pounds of equipment around the house and in the truck. So I thought, I couldn't afford to buy that stuff, especially not all of it now. So I thought I'd just give a bit back and say, well, I'll buy a unit and give a giveaway. And the idea is, like I say, to show the whole field forward process. So this is the sort of technology that I'm using. This is where I'm using it, how I'm using it. This is what I'm shooting with it. This is how I'm cutting it up. And this is yours to take home and eat. So come with me on the journey, and let's do the whole thing.
That's brilliant.
How many people are involved in that?
How do you mean? Sorry, how many people have
Get to come along with that experience?
Oh well, it's it always ends up being two. It's always offered for one person. They always want to bring a mate, so I got used to that. So 2 people can come if they want to. I did one the other day actually for the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust. Someone got in touch and asked if I'd donate a stork to the as like a raffle prize for an auction prize, and I did that. And it's funny how things work out. These two gents turn up, absolutely had a cracking time. They were hilarious, and they both got they shot 3 deer. I mean, the auction prize was for 1 deer for one person, but 2 people came out. We shot 3 deer, and it was amazing. If we could have gone on, we would have done. And I butchered the 2 carcasses up for them, and we were going to post them out. And the guy said, "Well, I'll come and pick them up, save you with the postage." And he came over. Turns out he manages a company which produces delivery boxes. So bloody game on. It's a funny old world, isn't it? So he's like,
good.
What boxes are you using there? I was like, these ones. He goes, well, we can do those. Nice. Do a good price on them. It's like, get in. So it's weird, isn't it? How it goes around, comes around. So
it's meant to be.
Yeah,
it is.
This is awesome. How would people get in touch with you? Is that simply over Instagram, or is there an email or anything?
The gram's best, to be honest with you. I do have a website, but it's all the inventory is set for 0 at the moment, and I'm sort of like trying to link it up. I haven't done the terms and conditions and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
As soon as I'm up and running, I'll be launching over. There's a grovegame.co.uk for anyone who's interested. But that's just a bit of the history, the story, and the most importantly, the shop. But annoyingly, it's annoying. You can't. I only realise this when I've just finished the bloody website, so I can't set like a minimum basket total, because the last thing you want is someone to order a packet of mints or something, and then you've got to send it out in a bloody box, in a bag, and post it. It's like, no.
You can go the other way and give them a discount if they pay over a certain amount, or not a discount. We don't do discounts here. You can give them a deal.
Deal. Everyone loves a deal. Usually my business manager, I think, because I'm crap at this sort of thing. I'm cool at shooting it and cutting it up, but when it comes to the financial side and the business side, I'm a bit.
I have so many ideas. It's unreal. I can't keep up with it all. All right, I'll send you an invoice shortly after this as well.
Thanks very much. Yeah. That's not, I'm bad at invoicing as well, so I'm both bad at selling stuff and bad at invoicing.
And I'll forget to send it. So we'll get it.
Win-win. All right, Matty, we're going to move over to the guest questions now. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Number 1, top of the bucket list.
be a 60-inch bull moose in the Yukon, Canada.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. Straight on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Moose are
Uh,
absolutely ginormous.
Yeah, they're monsters. They're absolutely huge, and they're really like, they're gracious and all that sort of things as well. And they're just monsters. They just totally own the environment they're in. They're seeing those big where the guys are the professional hunters are calling them, and they're using their big racks to sort of direction, or to find the direction of the sound and all that sort of stuff, and the landscape and the tundra and when you're on the camp and stuff. Apparently they're eating like kick-ass barbecues and like venison and stuff. Yeah, it's mental. Love it.
That's awesome.
Love it.
That's cool.
Unfortunately, I don't have a house big enough to put the trophy in, but
that wall seems all right behind you.
Well, yeah.
But that costs so much to get shipped back that you put that in your bag.
Carry on. Yeah, exactly.
Anything to declare?
Yeah, okay, like a Hercules or something just to get it in. Yeah.
Just this 40-kilo moose head with fucking antlers coming in.
It would be 40 kilos as well, probably, and some. Yeah.
You can always hang up the head up in the your shop.
Yeah.
That will work. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I've got there's like a vaulted ceiling in it where I'm doing I'm installing like a winch skinning thing just for the bucks, just to save my shoulders. So it would fit in there. That would be quite cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I look forward to going to Canada.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll go see Jamie.
Yeah, we'll go see Jamie. Number 2, 3 people to invite to dinner, dead or alive, and why?
I don't know, shall I see? I was thinking about this earlier. I think the Queen will be on there, the late Queen. Okay. I think she was pretty inspiring person. I went through a lot of shit, but didn't. I think quite stoic person to look up to. I know she had a very privileged life, but she gave her life to like serving the people and stuff. And I think she had quite a few cool stories, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'd also like, there was, I can't remember his name, but he was the one of the craziest first SAS chaps, who has got loads of like super like just awe-inspiring like things which he just did that quite. I wish I could remember his bloody name.
It's not Bear Grylls, is it?
No,
he's the ultimate Boy Scout.
He's done a lot of stuff, and he'd probably be quite a cool person to have along to, honestly. But no, this guy just like went through I think he did like the First World War and the Second World War, and just had I think again just like a lot of putting a lot of things in perspective. I think that conversation would be just in terms of the privileges and luxuries that we don't really take, but we take for granted at the moment. I think knowing having some of that sort of idea would be pretty cool. And another guy I called Richard Pryor, who is quite local fella, who's like a deer manager, and has sort of read a lot of textbooks and a lot of books on roe deer stalking and all that sort of things. He's a good old school, no frills, nice bloke. I spoke to him one time about a buck I shot a long time ago, and I was going to take it to him to have a look at it, but he died, unfortunately. So yeah.
Oh. I thought you were going to say the comedian Richard Pryor.
Oh no!
It's always like
we're going to show actually. No. This is an old dude who'd been a comedian would have been going to show actually, because it might be a bit dark if there's a bit someone to lighten the mood.
Yeah, the Queen and the
some scary incest dude.
Yeah,
exactly. All right. Yeah, very good actually. Question 3: where do you see the future of game going?
I think it's two different questions. I think it's two different elements to game. I think there's driven game, and I think there's venison and wild boar, and rabbits and squirrels and pigeons and stuff like that. I think driven game is going to have. I hate to say it, I think it's going to have a harder and harder time. I think it's necessary. It's really necessary for the land, the British countryside to function the way it does. A lot of the ecosystems and diversity and management of woodland and farmland is done for the benefit of game shooting and to help bring people together. I think, unfortunately, there are some parts of it which have got a bit too intensive and industrial in terms of the quantities, and I think that is going to tar a lot of I think that's going to tar it badly, and needs to change. To be honest with you, the commercial days are hard to justify, and I think unless some action is taken to maybe either change the narrative on it and say that this is a way of bringing in vital money for these for traditional pursuits and jobs in the countryside, and the benefit of this is this and this, then great. I think it runs the risk of damaging I think the bigger picture, which is the thousands of smaller shoots that we have in this country, which help maintain the land and keep the diversity as it needs to be, helps keep predators down, helps encourage all manner of other wildlife. Yes, for the benefit of shooting, but for the greater good at the same time. So I think the driven bird community's got. I hope it's going to come out the other side of it, but I think it's just really difficult, because I love it, and but I think even the people that are in the industry would recognise that there's something that they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves, which I don't think the can be squared really. As for other pursuits like venison, I mean, I think the pigeons and squirrels. Well, pigeons. I mean, there was that. I don't want to go on another tangent. Bloody Chris Packham, and Wild Justice and all this sort of stuff, just basically trying to push class-based agendas and all sorts of other things on traditional country pursuits. They made it bloody hard just to even just like shoot a pigeon in the garden. Now you need to be able to demonstrate. Theoretically, if you've got challenged on it, you need to be able to demonstrate a reason why and a justifiable reason for that. So even controlling basic vermin like squirrels and pigeons especially, it's necessary. And I think that has turned a bit of a corner since he's lost a bit of his platform. But I think that's still a bit of a risk. There's a lot of nutters out there which don't care about the reason for stuff. They just want to see stuff burn. So I think that hopefully that's going to reset itself a bit more. I think that was under a lot of pressure in early 2020, but more so better now. And for venison, I think that's going to go from strength to strength. And I'm not saying that because I'm in it. I think a lot of people, as we said earlier, people coming away from like pure vegan diets where they get ill and their body craves what it needs. If they've got a hang up on traditional agriculture forms of protein, I think they'll go down the wild route. And if we're going down increasing levels of regenerative farming or rewilding, then I think deer management's got a very firm front and centre place in that, and they're going to be a byproduct. So they're going to have to go somewhere, and where else better than food, because everyone knows it's good for you. You can't doubt it really. So I think that is going to go from strength to strength.
Awesome.
Wow.
I agree.
100%.
And with the driven bird industry as well, that's real. It's going to go through a difficult time before it gets better.
Yeah.
I think so. It's such a shame because it's been. I think that the vast majority of shoots are not like that, and they're just good, honest, hardworking, salt of the earth people. Some come from wealthy backgrounds, some come from small backgrounds, but from less off. But it doesn't matter. Everyone's pretty much just getting on there, having a really good time. It's so good for those communities and for the land more than anything. People just don't realise. I mean, the RSPB, you have a look on their moors up in Scotland, and there's not a fucking thing on them. And you look at the actual maintained moors up there, and they're just thriving like diverse ecosystems. And it's just because they've been managed, yes, for sport, but for the right reasons. It's the same thing with the hunting estates in Africa. All around them, they're just like barren wastelands. But in the actual hunting estates, they're properly managed, and it's not an argument; it's a fact. So it just sort of depends on whether politics and politics and influencers who don't know their arse and their elbow, get involved in it.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And just an example of that is bloody Kim Kardashian and the Beyond Meat. I mean, she's a taste consultant. I mean, what the actual fuck?
Right.
How are people taking that seriously?
Yeah.
Just give it a die.
She doesn't know anything about
sway.
Yeah, it's just money for her. Like, she wouldn't know anything about the meat industry. She wouldn't know about anything to do and what they put into those products. It's just money. And if people who follow that kind of person need to take a mirror to bed and wake the fuck up to themselves, like
they're some vacuous mongs, aren't they? They literally don't have a brain cell to rub together if they're taking someone's advice like that. Or just
over their own health,
advice.
their
own health, and it'll be fact. I mean, it'll be there for them to see in the mirror every morning when they get up and their teeth are wobbling and they look like a bloody warmed up corpse. It's just
living dead. They look like, literally, and they're just whittling away. They got no mass, like no body mass, and hair's falling out, teeth have gone yellow, and everything. It's not right. And if they're following people like that, they're just leading them astray. Because people like Kim Kardashian can just up and leave and drop a product or do whatever she wants because of the amount of money that she has. Like, and she don't care.
People
care.
Well, people do claim to be doing well off it. I mean, maybe that I very much doubt many of them are. I think it's just in terms of supplements and other things they're taking. I mean,
you're also going to have a reliable supplement company as well.
Yeah,
you need a reliable one. Then you need to do your own research. Luke and I, when we do these podcasts and everything, we do extensive research. I know it doesn't always come out correctly from time to time, and also we're heavily dyslexic. but we get a point across. We make it so that people can understand what they're doing with ultra processed foods, like gamekeeping and like game control, like yourself, and someone who's doing honest, hard work. Like people like yourself need to have a light shine on them, and everyone appreciates it, and to the thousands of listeners that we have worldwide, they seem to enjoy it and they seem to understand it.
Sure. Nice.
Yeah, man. That was a great tangent. I love that. That was great.
Last question.
Yes. Death row meal.
If you don't say venison, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Well, I was going to say venison for start. I was going to say, like, I don't know what it is. Whenever I see whitebait on the menu, I know it might be just, well, I've got to have it. Got to have whitebait. So, whitebait to start. I know it's like a very, like, 80s style thing, but I love it. I love the stuff. So, whitebait. For the main course, I'm going to go with a Sika hind chump steak in butter, hot butter, with harissa and allowed to rest. Like the real rose harissa,
wow,
lush, and like some just normal like steamed broccoli or something. But yeah, that'd be wicked.
Lovely.
Chump steaks as well, especially when you peel it away from that cap and you see it's only like a smallish square, but bloody wicked. And for pud, it's gonna have to be the sticky toffee pudding. Even if it's summer, I'll have sticky toffee pudding.
Awesome.
Classic. Classic.
Rib sticking, yeah.
What drink you having?
Love a Guinness.
Yes.
Yeah, love a Guinness.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Right. Last question. It is a good one. Are aliens real?
They've got to be, haven't they? They've got to be.
We got another one.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Somewhere, surely, somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, they're here on the Winton High Street in fucking Bournemouth. The fucking creatures at it.
Mate, you haven't been down to Western Supermare. Go down there, mate. It's like a fucking circus, honestly.
We're just calling places out now.
Oh, no. I do know some very nice people that live there,
Yeah.
and some scary ones.
Yeah.
You see people around here. It's a real, like...
Yeah, you're in a strange part of the country.
Yeah.
You are. It's so strange.
It's the southeast. People think it's, like, the best, but it's just the pits, currently. People just... They really go, ooh,
Yeah.
southeast. Yeah.
Right. It's an odd little section of the country.
Yeah, hooray for me. But yes, aliens are real.
We got another. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they haven't they? They've got to be. I mean, even if they just like, I mean, what actually? I know I don't want to go off on a tangent, but what are we classifying aliens as? Like intelligent beings which can like warp into our thing, or are we talking about bacteria on a rock?
I think anything that is
Outside of a
extraterrestrial that is, let's say, somewhat a humanoid type thing, or
Okay,
anything that's not a human.
They're still,
yeah,
they're still going to be a firm yes.
we haven't had that yet, have we? Bacteria being
Yeah.
a moon a gazillion billion
Light years
miles away. Is that an alien, or is it just
Well, it's foreign.
space?
It's foreign from this from this planet. So yeah, it would have
Yeah.
to be. Mm.
Fuck. Can't sit there and really.
You're gonna keep me up till 4 tonight, aren't you, man?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna just be having this head noise like, is that thing?
Oh yes. Oh,
Right. This has been absolutely incredible.
that has been Matt. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you dropping some absolute knowledge bombs on us, and this has been great. I appreciate it. Ant appreciates it.
I love it. This has been great.
Guys, no, thanks for having me. And like I say, get your buns to North Somerset. We'll go and do a field fork stalk butchery mash.
Oh yes.
Hell yes. We will get that in the diary.
Yeah, so down for that. Awesome. I'd like to quickly mention that it is still Mental Health Month. So reach out, talk to people, don't be a stranger, and everyone's here for you.
Yeah.
We're here for you. Matt's here for you.
Yeah.
Definitely here for you.
Call a mate. Tell them that you love them. Call your mum. Tell them that you love them. Or if not, just give them a text. See how they are. It is June Mental Health Awareness Month. So also a big one. Get your boobs, bums, and balls checked as well, guys. It's be safe. Look after yourselves. You really deserve it, and we love you. Thank you so much for today, Matt. It's been emotional.
It has been. If you want to tell everybody where they can find you online.
Oh yeah, thank you again. Grave Game Larder on Instagram and gravegame.co.uk on the web. Thank you.
Awesome.
Nice. Like, follow, and subscribe, guys, and follow Matt on his journey. He's doing incredible work. And happy Friday. We'll see you later. Peace.
Bye.